Ambassador Dr. Raza Muhammad has held various prestigious command and staff assignments. He has served as an additional secretary in the Ministry of Defense Production. After retirement, Dr. Raza was appointed Ambassador of Pakistan to Mauritius, Madagascar, Seychelles, and Comoros University. I would request Ambassador Dr. Raza Muhammad to please come on stage and deliver his welcome remarks.
Which is under this destruction got a new hype. Last time when we requested the Excellency Al-Tuk to come here and speak on this issue, the casualties, if I'm not wrong, were around 4,000. And today, there are more than 50,000, what is accounted for. And the more torturous thing is that out of these 50, 60,000 or whatever figures we know, more than 60 to 70% are the people, the women, the children, the civilians who are not combatants. They're not the soldiers. They're innocent people. Even if we take the claim of Israel that they are retaliating in self-defense or whatever mantra they want to recite, the use of force is not proportionate to the act which was done. 1, 2. In all the laws, international law, Geneva Convention, Vienna Convention, none where you are supposed to actually target the civilians. If you want to revenge, if you want to punish, if you want to fight a war, you should fight a war with the combatants, not raise the civilian facilities, the hospitals, the mosques to ground and decimate the whole generation. It is a genocide. There is no doubt. I don't know, Maham is here, whether it qualifies the technical terms of genocide or not. Practically, it is a genocide which is being perpetrated in Palestine with the support of, I would not mince my word, the United States, P5 and West. They all look other way. They teach us human rights. They teach us democracy. They teach us a world ruled by a world rules-based world order. But practically it is not so. The human rights are also tools of coercion and blackmail. So where are the journalists who should be reporting from West on this? Where is Voice of America, BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera and all that? Where are the world leaders? They are supporting blatantly this killing and genocide, unfortunately. And the ones who should be standing up against them, the Muslim Ummah, collectively together, they are also weak. Self-interests, preservation of self-rules, perpetuation of kinships. So, this is the word today. Are the Palestinians lesser human beings? Or those children lesser human beings? Which are dying of hunger and disease and being killed so blatantly? They trumpet the saving of trees, saving of natures, saving of the pandas generations, saving of such and such fish generation, saving of this and that. Don't kill them, don't cage them, don't make the zoos. And what is this going on? What about the human beings? Quran gives the right. Quran says don't start a war. Allah says don't start a war. Our Prophet ﷺ never started a war. But when it is imposed upon you, if they send you out of your homes, Quran ke words, and these are the words of Quran, then fight them. Hats off to Mr. Ambassador, the people of Palestine, the people of Middle East who are resisting this. They are bold enough to resist it. They know it. They are weaker technologically. They are weaker militarily. But they are resisting. Same goes for the countries like Iran. There are people who are saying that they have done a stupidity. That what good have they done? At least they have, sorry, I was going to use a slang. At least they have courage to stand up and retaliate. Excellency, we share the pain, we share the grief, and we appreciate and we greatly honor your country and the sacrifices your country and people are making. Everyone knows there is only one solution, and that is the two-state solution. With these few words, Excellency, I'm very grateful to you that you came here. You have been very kind that whenever we request you, you come and share your views, and we would again request you to be with us and share your views. Back to MOIC. Thank you.
Thank you, President, for your welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am honored to introduce our esteemed guest today, Nadir Khamis Hafiz Al-Turk. He was born in Gaza City, Palestine on November 11, 1972. His family lived in Bir Sahaba city in southern Palestine, but they became refugees after being expelled and displaced from their home there to the city of Gaza in 1948. As far as his academic career is concerned, he is a PhD researcher in international law and holds master's degree in international relations, bachelor's in history and political science. His work experience: he is a charge d'affaires deputy head of mission on the Embassy of State of Palestine to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, head of media and civil society. Before his assignment to Pakistan in late 2014, he served as a diplomat and deputy head of the mission of the Embassy of State Palestine to the People's Republic of China for 5 years. He has been a Palestinian government official since 1996, during which he has held many different positions. He works as a journalist and media professional as well, and he was a volunteer human rights defender for years. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our esteemed speaker. So the stage is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I like to thank you for giving me several opportunities to be your guest, to speak about my people's suffering, about history of Palestine and the future of Palestine. And from here, I like to highly appreciate the Pakistani people, leadership, government, political parties for their support to Palestine continuous, even before the independence of Pakistan, following the vision and the orders of Qaid A'zam. May Allah bless his soul. May Allah bless you all. I will try to be briefing, not taking long time for your precious time. But as you know, it is right now 1 year of ethnic cleansing, of genocide, crimes against humanity. Actually, it is not start on 7th of October, but it is extend after the 7th of October. We suffer with that since 1948, even before. The state of Palestine established or start within the Balfour Declaration 1917 as a reaction of Sykes-Picot 1916 and continued by the occupation of British to our country in 1918. They work hard to facilitate the Balfour Declaration to become facts on the ground by facilitate Zionist immigration from Europe to Palestine, to establish a state on our homeland which we owned and live over it since more than 12,000 years. They ignore 12,000 years of history and raising 3,000 years of lies. This is the real story of Palestine. According to the Secretary General of United Nations, Mr. Guterres, he mentioned since the start of the 7th of October, that 7th October, it is actually not an action. It is a reaction of long history of suffering, occupation by Israelis to the Palestinian territories and makes the Palestinian people suffer. So, 7th of October, it is not an action done by the Palestinian, but it is a reaction of the suffering of the Palestinian for long years. This is the word of Mr. Guterres. Mr. Guterres, when he's follow the international law, international resolution, and he try to make the United Nations reflect justice, he was punished by the Israelis from day one. They said that he is anti-Semitism, and few days before, they mentioned him as a persona non grata. He don't have the right to get visa to visit the Israelis' territories. As a Palestinians, our policy, we are against kill civilians. Israelis said that in 7th of October, 1200, start actually with 1600. After that, they decreased it to 1200. I don't know if the other 400 was getting new births, rebirths again, or getting alive again. I don't know, from ashes they're born again. What happened to them? But later on, they reduce the number to become 1200. Israelis killed on 7th of October. And there are mentioned a lot of lies, a strong propaganda that the Palestinian fighters during 7th of October, they killed 40 innocent, cut their heads, and they robbed many of Israelis' ladies, during these actions, without any evidence, without any records, without any victims came to public to speak about that things. The Americans, news channels, Americans politician, American president, American foreign minister take this propaganda and keep it repeated as facts. Later on, the President of United States of America, Mr. Biden, he need to say, I'm so sorry, I published something, I'm not sure about it. But that was too late. Why? Because the Israelis use this propaganda to use the concept of self-defense, which is thanks for the Russians, brothers and sisters, thanks for the Chinese brothers and sisters, when they are mentioned hardly and strongly in the United Nations, that power of occupation, or Israel as a power of occupation, don't have the right of defense. Only the Palestinians have that right because they are under occupation, and by the international law, they have the right to use all the tools between their hands to get their independence, get their freedom, and to continue their struggle for peace and independence. But the Israelis, as usual, they are not satisfied with that because they are believing in the deep of their hearts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create all the humans to be slaves for them to make their life is easier. This is their beliefs. Who can't believe me, he can follow their rights, their books, their holy books which they write it, and what they are published in the media. So, according to that, what we see as a reaction by the Israelis leaders, reaction of the Israelis army, they're looking for the Palestinians that there is no human there in Gaza, there is only human animals. This was the Israeli propaganda. According to that, they have the right to continue their genocide, their ethnic cleansings with these human animals, ignoring the international law, ignoring the international resolution, ignoring the human rights principles. Since 7th of October until now, we have, according to the statistics, which actually it is not 100% right, it is, I think, the minimum of the numbers. We have about 42,000 shaheed in Gaza, more than 97,200 injured in Gaza Strip. On the other hand, we have 741 shaheed in West Bank, where is no Hamas there actually. Who is ruling there is the Palestinian legal government. And we have more than 6,250 injured. In West Bank, we have about 163 children killed in cool blood by the Israelis. In Gaza Strip, we have more than 17,000 children killed by the Israelis. What happened right now? 80% of Gaza buildings was completely destroyed, include many of churches, buildings, mosque, very historical places. One of it, as example, I will not mention about. One of the masjid there was destroyed actually. It is since Umar bin Khattab, anhu, he was Khalifa of Muslims, and he came to Palestine to receive the key of Aqsa Masjid, the key of the city of Jerusalem, from the Christian who was living and ruling there, because they refused to give it to anyone else, only to Umar bin Khattab anhu, as a Khalifa. When he go to receive the keys of Jerusalem, he in his way go to throughout Gaza, and he burns that place which was before a temple, 1,000 years before. That place later on become a church, later on become a palace for the king, later on become a mosque after Umar bin Khattab pray there. So we speak about thousands of years historically place was destroyed by the Israelis' air bombs. We speak about one of the churches was destroyed in Gaza. It is one of the third oldest church in the world, which mean for the Israelis, Muslim, Christian is not important. The most important is that you are Palestinian. You are child, woman, old, armed or civilians, all are targeting everyone, especially the children and the young generations. Right now, people of Gaza since 9th of October 2023 live without electricity, without gas, without fuel, without continuous food or humanitarian supply to them. They live with the minimum. Many of them, thousands of them, are starving to death without drugs, without medicine, without hospitals, many of the people who are injured are bleeding to death because they don't have any. Our medical teams don't have enough equipment to help them. Right now, we have in Gaza the Israelis control about 90% of Gaza completely. Actually, they occupied all of Gaza, but direct occupation of 90% of it. So according to that, we have 2 million live on 10% of Gaza. Gaza, it is not a huge area. It is only 365 kilometers. So when we speak about 10% of it, we speak about 30 kilometers. Live over it 2 million persons, not in homes, but most of them live in tents. Because Gaza, sorry for that, but it is a black joke, become a huge summer camp even in winter. Thanks for the Israelis and thanks for the Americans. Right now, the Israelis came for a new procedure a few days before. They start working on a law by their parliament to make the UNRWA as one of the organization of United Nations illegal to work in their territories, which mean include the occupied Palestinian territories. We speak about millions of Palestinians are refugees. This agency actually, it is responsible of following and helping, supporting the Palestinian refugees who live in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and around the historical land of Palestine, in Lebanon, Jordan, and other Syria, to help them to survive, the Palestinian refugees, after the International Resolution 194. So the Israelis right now start to publish a law that this organization, it is illegal, because they try to delay or damage, destroy the Resolution 194, which speak about right of return for the Palestinian refugees who become refugees in 1948. And this is, by the way, was part of the Americans' President, Mr. Trump, deal of the century, 2017, when he mentioned that the refugees are not millions, only there are 50,000 who become refugees in 1948 and still alive. But the next generation, according to him, they are not refugees. So the Americans and the Israelis working hand by hand to destroy all the bars of the Palestinian question. And I think you follow the speech of Mr. Trump a few weeks before, when he said that I'm looking sad, I'm feeling sad when I'm looking to the map. I'm looking for the Israelis map and see how much it is small. I'm keep thinking how I can increase this small country. And this lead us for this. This is the greater Israel according to the Israelis. It is include 100% of Palestine, 100% of Jordan, 100% of Lebanon, 100% of Kuwait, 75% of Syria, 45% of Iraq, 40% of Saudi Arabia, 35% of Egypt. This going to, and part of Turkey too, because they want to control the land between Furat and Nile River. This is the Israelis' plan. And this gets us back to the history of Palestine. This is the land of Palestine before 1948. This is the first idea in 1938 to publish Israelis or Zionist state on the land of Palestine in 1938. They give them 20% of Palestinian land and keep for the Palestinians 80%. Later on, according to 181 resolution by United Nations 1947, they start speaking about giving the Israelis 56% of the land, give the Palestinians 43% of the land of Palestine, and give 1% as international area, which is include Jerusalem and Bethlehem, where is the holy places for Muslim and Christians. Later on, the Israelis in 1948, they occupied 78% of the land, not 56%, and West Bank become under the Jordanian control, include East Jerusalem. Gaza Strip become under the Egyptian control, okay, until the 1967, the Israelis occupied 100% of the land of Palestine and some other Arab countries, territories as extra. Later on, we was blessed by Mr. Trump's wise vision, very generous vision, when he started speaking to give Palestinians by the deal of the century 12% of their historical homeland, and keep for the Israelis 88%. So we start in 1938 by give them 20% and keep for the Palestinians 80%. In 2017, we start speak about give the Palestinians 12% and give the Israelis 88% of the land. And this lead us again for the declaration of Balfour, which we are always in our political speech said that who is not on giving, who is not deserve. And again we suffer with the same tragedy. We start with Balfour as a British and we end with Trump as Americans, and who knows who's going to be generous by giving our homeland to others when we don't own it. What happened after 7 of October? Many of European countries recognize Palestine as state. We get very important opinion from the international courts, ICC and ICJ, and they clearly speak that the Israeli occupation for Palestinian territories is illegal. Later on in the last United Nations summit, we get later on in the last United Nations summit, few days before, they take a resolution that the Israeli occupation to Palestinian territories is illegal and it needs to be ended, and we need to work for end it by a timetable of 12 months to end that occupation. According to that, the Israelis' reaction become against the ICJ, ICC, United Nations, that it is anti-Semitism organizations, because they are speaking about international law against the Israelis' crimes against humanity. So if you are not serving us, you are against us, and if you are against us, you are anti-Semitism, you become a Nazi, and whatever. This is how the Israelis dealing with the world. Okay, being with us or being against us. And then it is not important if we are following the rules, we're following the international law or not. The most important thing is that you are serve them and follow their propaganda. What we request as a Palestinians leadership, Palestinian people, is very simple. First of all, end this genocide, end this ethnic cleansing immediately, because the failure of the international organization of the end this war against our people, it is not acceptable anymore. What happened in Gaza since 1 year, it is reflect the failure of international organization to keep peace, keep stability in our region. And one of the main and basic rules for the United Nations, for Security Council, is to keep international security. So this failure is not acceptable anymore. What we need is facilitate international protection for our people in Gaza Strip and West Bank, including Jerusalem. Because what happened there is not acceptable for any humans. Targeting civilians, children, women, it is against the international law, against the international rule. What we need is follow the ICG orders according to the resolution ARESES 1024 and requesting to organize international conference for peace in our region. Because peace, only peace, can bring stability and security for everyone in this world, not the war. Second, we need the protection too for the international organization from the Israelis. Because international law said that countries need to be punished by international organizations. But what we see, Israelis are punishing the international organizations and its own leaders. But according to that, the Israelis mention Mr. Guterres as persona non grata. He's not allowed to visit the Palestinian territories and the Israelis. And we need protection for the UNRWA, which is the Israelis work hard to break it, destroy it, because they have keep in mind that if they succeed in destroying the UNRWA, they will destroy the right of return of the Palestinian refugees, which they are waiting for the right of return since 1948 until now. And this is one of the international failure. What we need from the world, from humanity, activate the 7th chapter of United Nations, which is taking force procedure against the criminal action by the power of occupation and cut the international or diplomatic relationship with this power of organization and facilitate the entry of international army to protect the Palestinians in the occupied Palestinian territories by order from the Security Council to be sure that we will get later on two-state solutions. Other things as a Palestinian we requested from humanity is to support our request to get the full membership in the United Nations. In 1947, the United Nations decided to establishing two states in the Palestinian territories. As I mentioned before, 56% for the Israelis, 44% of the Israelis, for the Palestinians, sorry. And they give birth certificate for the Israeli state, which is occupied 78% of the land of Palestine, not only 56%, and they forget to give the same birth certificate for the Palestinian state, which become right now 22%, and who knows later on how it's going to be, according to the balance of power, not the balance of the international law. So, right now, start being steps to freezing the membership of Israel as a state in the United Nations. This campaign start by our brothers, Pakistani brothers, by the speech of the ambassador of Pakistan in the United Nations. Prime Minister of Pakistan, Foreign Minister of Pakistan speak about that issue. And later on, the Arab League in Cairo start to speak about that issue. And we need to have campaign in favor of that, because who is not respecting the law who didn't respecting the international resolution, how become he enjoy the membership of international organization? This is a question for the humanity. We are working hard as a Palestinian to getting back our unity for all our political parties after what happened in Gaza in 2007. And thanks for our brothers in China for facilitate that issue a few months before. And we are suffer as a Palestinian from the Israelis looting for our money, not only looting our national resources or even our custom money, because we are under occupation. We are using the Israelis seaports, and according to that, they take our custom and don't transfer it to us. So they are looting even our money. Second, we need to work hard to rebuild Gaza, to reconstruction Gaza, which is, as mentioned before, 80% of it was damaged and destroyed. And we are working hard with transparency and good government as a Palestinian, because this is in favor of our people. And what we are request is to end this conflict, not only manage it as how the Americans do. And this reminds us again and again of Ishaq Shamir, the ex-prime minister of Israelis, when we are going for Madrid the peace conference, international peace conference in 1991, he said, I will negotiate with the Palestinians for 20 years without give them anything. We are in peace process since 1991, and until now we get nothing. Not only 20 years, it is more than 30 years. So again, since 1 year, genocide, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity continue in Gaza and West Bank against the Palestinian people. Our people are killed by Americans' whoopings, Americans' bombs, and right now our brother in Lebanon facing same by killing by Americans and bombs and aircrafts. And this remind me to thank Mr. Macron. He said 2 days before that supplying whoopings, bombs for the Israelis need to be freeze until they end their war and their crimes in Gaza. So this was a very great steps, and the reaction of the Israelis again was shame, Macron, how you are dealing against Israel. I end my words by this. We're still working hard as Palestinians. We're still optimistic. We're still sure and trust humanity. They will succeed to reverse the failure of international organization by to solve the question of Palestine, by end this occupation and establishing Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, and facilitate the right of return of Palestinian refugees their own homes and properties in Palestine. We are believing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to that, we will continue our struggle for peace, independence, until we're getting our rights of getting back our homeland and establishing our Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. And as a promise, I promise you on behalf of my people, from rubble of Gaza, we will build justice, humanity, and the future of the humanity. And we will rebuild the human rights principles. We will reactivate the international law. Rubble of Gaza will become like highlighting the liberty of the world and the liberty of the human beings. Thank you very much for your time. I'm so sorry if I was taking longer of your time. Pakistan Zindabad, Palestine Zindabad.
Thank you, Excellency, for your insightful discourse. And indeed, the war in Gaza is tantamount to a year of genocide in Gaza. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will open the floor for question and answers session. And I would request you to please introduce yourself and keep the questions short and brief so we can accommodate the maximum number of questions.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Abdullah. I am from Islamic University Islamabad in 5th semester. So my question is about the view of Palestinians on Palestine. Because I was listening to Dr. Khalid Kadumi. He is a senior, in senior ranks of Hamas. And he was giving interview to some of the organizations in Pakistan. So he was saying that the first step which Palestinians and the people of Gaza especially, it is to kick out the Israelis from Gaza Strip, and the next is not the two-state solution, but expel all the Israelis from the Palestinian lands. And the view of Pakistan, it is against the view of Hamas, that we want, our foreign ministry says, the two-state solution. So what about the people there in Gaza and the West Bank? What do they think? They want the two-state solution or expel all the Israelis from the Palestinian lands? Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your question. First, our brother Khalid al-Qadoumi, he is not the representative of Palestinian government, of Palestinian people, who only representative of one of our political parties, which is Hamas. So even I think his vision is against his leader vision, because even Ismail Haniya, before he killed, and many of Hamas leaders were speaking about two-state solutions. So I don't know from where he came or bring on the table this idea, because he only said that they said that we will not recognize Israel as a state, but we accept two-state solution. This is his leader's vision. For Palestinian legal government, it is very clear. We are following international law. We're following international resolutions. We are following human rights principles. We obey it, and we are struggle for make Israelis and all the world obey and follow it. So according to that, we are accept in 1993 in Oslo agreements, two-state solutions. We are working hard for that, but sad that we don't have Israel's partner for peace, because Israel's radical government are looking for war, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity, and we hope one day soon this crime is going to be end and the two-state solution can be raised, and we can cooperate to build peace and stability, not only in our region, but for all humanity and for all the world.
Further questions, if we have? Meg, sir, please.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. My question is that if we take a look at the last 1 year, two things are visible. One is Hamas is on the ground and it is proactively engaging in whatever capacity it can. My question is that as far as a common public opinion is concerned, my question is, what is your legal government doing in the last 1 year? Would you like to list out something substantial that your government has done? And is your legal government on board when Hamas is invited for talks in Qatar and elsewhere in Egypt? So are you on the same page in finding out a solution? As you said, you need to end the conflict, not manage the conflict. And my second question is that you haven't talked about the ramifications of the conflict escalating, especially after Iran's retaliation, as well as whatever is happening in Lebanon. So how do you see the entire picture with your cause especially? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, brother, for the question. First of all, our leadership worked hard from day one, even before that, in hard and strong active diplomacy. We are going with our brothers in South Africa to ICC and ICG, and many of our friends, Pakistan, as example, was supporting our diplomacy work in United Nations organizations, include the ICC and ICG. And we work hard with the European countries. According to that, we got about 5 countries from European countries recognize Palestine after 7th of October as a state, and they increase our mission there to become an embassy. We are following the Israelis' crimes, and we try to make them punished for that, not run away with the crimes against humanity as usual by the support of the Americans. We are working hard with media, international organization, to follow the Israelis' crimes and publishing and raising the voice of the Palestinian people, the voice of the Palestinian suffering. We work hard with our partners, friends, brothers around the world, the Muslim Ummah, and in all the humanity in that effort and to get that things on the ground. What happened actually, as I mentioned before, the ICG decision which was taken, it is not came from nowhere. It came as a reflection of my leadership, hard work in domestic and active diplomacy. The United Nations resolution that to ending the Israeli occupation Palestinian territories didn't came nowhere. It came according to Palestinian strong and active diplomacy with our brothers and sisters in the world to take this decision to, as I mentioned, to end this conflict, not to manage it, how the Americans was do in the last 3 decades at least. This is what our leadership do. We are really sad that the conflict increased to become in Lebanon by the Israelis' attack to our Lebanese brothers and sisters. But as usual, we are bleeding together 1982, and before that 1978 and 1983. So we are bleeding together as Palestine and Lebanon because we are twins brothers who are suffering from the Israelis for a long time. So we are hopeful this conflict going to be end soon, and no one suffer like we are suffer as the Palestinians, and we getting our rights raising on the ground and become facts on the ground by getting 2-state solution by Palestinian state and with Jerusalem as its capital and facilitate the right to return Palestinian refugees to their own home. This is what we are working hard with it, and we will work harder and harder to make the Israelis getting punished for their crimes and not run away from it as usual. Thank you very much.
Anybody else who want to ask or add? Okay. Just waiting for the president to come and deliver his. So now I invite President, please give his word of thanks.
Excellency, thank you so much. Actually, you delivered such a beautiful talk that perhaps the questions are minimal, and it is so obvious also, whatever is happening. We copied your maps and made a slide of that. We can see that.
But I mentioned my name, not mentioning Greater Israel. That's something need to be changed at the moment. This is not my state. This is going to be the Greater
Okay, I'll change. Okay. I thought you wanted to copyright it, that it is your map. Thank you so much, Excellency. We do not have much words to say, and thank you. I think when you spoke of the Balfour Declaration, I remember reading about it, that it took quite some long to pass that resolution. And there are certain interesting things which are coming in the media now, and few people are talking about it also. And that was the basis of Balfour Declaration also, or the creation of Israel after the Balfour Declaration. When they wanted to create an Israel, they spoke to them, the Zionist lobby and their leaders. And they offered them various places, including Africa and all that. But they refused and they said that they wanted to go into the Holy Lands. When they came in small numbers. They were helped a lot. They started building communes, right? Few people together, buying lands, making communes, and slowly and gradually they were armed, and they started having fights with the local Muslims. Few Muslims sold their lands to them also, and that is how the story began. And today also, there are certain lobbies in United States and West. They say it is good that they go there and leave our country. I don't know how far this impression is true, but I've heard few people say this, that why are they so much supporting the creation of Israel, that they want that the Jews should leave United States and their countries, because they have been miscreants all over, all along. And this is a new thing which I heard from the ambassador Alto, that they say that everything and all the human beings have been created for the service of the Jews. I had this belief that whatever is created in this universe, except for the human being, is created for the service of human being. There is no doubt in that, whether it is the fruits, trees, water, animals, food, fruit, and whatever, sun, mountains, everything. But for the Jews only, and we all also to serve them, I think this is a new idea I've heard. I hope it doesn't come to that. Thank you so much, Excellency. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, but I suggest you can read about it. Just search about Gunim or Goyim, as they are said. This is how they are looking for it. Yeah, okay. Second things, I like to mention one thing, please, first, before I end my speech, that the Israelis right now working hard about displaced, transfer Palestinians, people out of Gaza. If they succeed of that, I mentioned that before in my two speech in April, but I like to remind you about what I mentioned before, because this become, before it was ideas, I mention it, I share it with you, but right now it has become day by day, become practical, and they have doing something on that. That's why they keep people of Gaza starving to death. They limited and destroy their homes, hospitals, infrastructure, and everything, to be sure that one day soon the Palestinians who are living in Gaza, they will not find any way to supply the living in Gaza. So the only option for them is to migrate out of Gaza. This is the Israelis' plan, devil plans. So they are working hard to transfer Palestinians out of Gaza, and if they succeed of that, they will copy and paste same scenario in West Bank, and maybe even for the Palestinians who are living inside the Israeli territories and holding Israeli passport and nationality. And this is going to be step for greater Israel, which we are speaking about it. Because I think if you are watching and following the speeches of in our region, in 18th of October, actually in 13th of October, I published an article about that issue. And His Excellency, the President of Egypt, in one of his speeches in the meeting with the German leader, he speak about that things, okay, mentioned that in his speech on 18th of October 2023. And he was very clear that if the Israelis displaced the Palestinians to Sinai, then the Palestinians will start their struggle from Sinai against the Israelis to come back to their own homeland. Then the Israelis will use that as excuse to attack Sinai and occupy it again. So this is how they are working on it. Displace the Palestinians out of Palestine to use that against the Palestinians and against our neighbors to make their greater land. And Mr. Trump said that he is like to increase the land of Israel. So this maybe is going to be the scenario. What we are need to is to cooperate together, hand by hand, to raise the voice of international law, make it stronger, make everyone obey it and follow it. No one is over the law. All the humanity, all the countries, all the nations under the international law and need to follow it. We need to make the international organization stronger to defend humanity, defend the law, defend the international resolutions. Inshallah, this day going to be soon. This darkness, what you are living right now, from the hand, on one hand it is darkness, but on the other hand it is light for humanity. We see that how the public opinion in the world changed day by day in favor of Palestine. The support of Palestine become more and more and stronger. They start speaking about the basics of Palestine history and Palestinian rights. They start looking for the, start to become on the right side of history. The billions of dollars was invest to make brainwash for the Western countries people fail, and the Western countries people start day by day knows more and more about Palestine, and the public opinion, as I mentioned before, change in favor of Palestine and become stronger day by day. Thank you for your time again. Pakistan's in the bad, Palestine's in the bad. Thanks a lot for every leaders and team for their.
I request the President again to please come on stage and present souvenir to the Excellency.